Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. First off, I want to thank everybody for 1,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate that. If you have been watching and haven't subscribed yet, go ahead, click that button. We're going to be doing MLB The Show content all year. 20's out in just a couple days. Going to have a lot of great stuff coming out. But today, I wanted to talk about the new Battle Royale strategies. The game has gotten a big, or the mode I should say, has gotten a big flip just by two different things changing. First, MLB, real life baseball, instituting the 3-batter minimum for pitchers. That right there was going to change it in its own. Then SDS decided to give us pitcher selection, which is incredible. Those two factors alone, and with the pitcher selection, I'm including the energy depletion that goes with it. Those two factors alone completely flip the mode on its head. Things are way different now, and I think the strategies are going to change. The way you're going to build a team, the way you're going to behave in game, a lot of things are going to change. So let's get into some of it and talk about it before we actually dive into 20 later this week. First things first, we now have 2 diamond rounds, 3 golds, 9 silver, 9 bronze, and 2 commons. So to accommodate this and the idea that, we're going to have a little bit more autonomy over the pitchers that we can select, and there's going to be energy depletion, there's only 2 commons. So maybe you put one hitting, one pitching. We'll get into that and what I think would be the best things to do with that. Also, one other thing to mention, the 9 win diamond that they usually give in about August for the rest of the year, that's there off the rip this year. So that's really cool. It's pretty tough to win 9 games. There's a lot of BR studs out there that can win 9 on their heads, but it's tough. And to go 9-2 and just come away with a gold after you grind it out all that time, that's pretty difficult. So let's get into this and see where we're at so far before we even get to really play the game. So first things first, the previous strategy is pretty standard. It's stale. There's one way to win as far as strategy goes. It's still a lot of fun to play, but strong bullpen, power hitting, and punt your starters. That's the way to build a team. There's not really any other way. You can do different things, but if you're just telling somebody how to play BR and giving them the best possible way to win, that's the strategy. There's not really any deviation from that, and if you want to win consistently, that's the way to do it. But now, pitching strategies are wide open. First things first, I'm going to have a preference for high stamina beasts if I'm going to take those diamonds and golds. So some of those old timers that are going to have staminas that are through the roof, I'm interested. They showed us that Hal Newhouser, I think he had a 120 stamina. Sign me up. And it is a lot of those old school guys because back in the day, they pitched 8-9 innings every time out. So those guys are going to be in high demand. And since, back in previous iterations, all of BR before this year, you would never take a diamond starter on purpose. I mean, maybe if you're doing like a funny build or something like that, because you never knew if you were going to get them. So it could be a wasted asset. But now if I take Hal Newhouser, I can pick him right off the rip. Now, can't use him every single game because you don't know, or because you have to deal with energy and be smart about that. You don't know how far your run is necessarily going to go. You can also park a common in the rotation since you don't have to use them and there's no chance that they would come up. So feasibly, you could put both commons on the pitching staff. You could do one in the rotation, one in the bullpen, because you're probably not going to need all 12 pitchers. I like to plan, I think somebody said in my chat the other day, I like to plan for things that are never going to happen or that have a very low probability of happening. I come up with these meticulous scenarios. If I'm in a 13-inning game of BR and this guy has to do this and that guy has to do that, this is why I'm going to make this draft pick on this common round. It's like, Paul, don't worry about it. So for the most part, you're not going to, even in extra innings games, you're not going to have to get all 12 of your pitchers going. So you can at least park one common in the rotation, and you can probably put both common pitchers, one rotation, one relief, and just go from there. Frankly, you can do 2 in bullpen or 2 in the rotation too, because it really depends on how your assets line up. Since we have so much choice now, you really can kind of figure things out however you want. So in 19, my goal was to get 4 stud arms, 2 righties, 2 lefties. And that was obviously relief, right? Because that's all we can have control over. Now, studs, they don't necessarily mean they just mean trustworthy arms. I'm not talking that they have to be diamonds and golds. Though, my first 12-0 of the year was with a double diamond bullpen. And I've even had some triple diamond ones this year that went pretty far. So I love having a stacked bullpen. I think I want 6 reliable studs now. And again, that's not all of my premium assets. That's not all my diamonds and golds, because we only have, 5 of them this year? Yeah, 2 diamonds, 3 golds. So it couldn't even be all 6. All 6 couldn't even be gold or higher if I wanted to. It just has to be 6 guys that I trust. And as you can see here, ideally it would be 3 righties, 3 lefties. But if it's 4 and 2, that's okay. I don't think I would go 4-2 the other way. I wouldn't go 2 righties, 4 lefties. You're just going to face more righties. There's just more righties in general that you're going to face. And frankly, there just aren't that many lefties to choose from anyway. They've done a great job of really improving the lefty stock that we have as far as relievers go. But there's still more righties to choose from. It's just the more common-handedness. Next up, don't forget, all pitchers must face 3 batters. This is including the starter or reliever, if whoever opens the game, we'll call it, unless you finish an inning. So you have to take that into consideration. You can't just punt a common or a bronze at the very beginning of the game that you don't trust, because they have to face 3 guys. So they're going to face maybe, they get out that first guy, but they got 2 more coming right after. It's going to be 3 studs. We'll get into pitcher or hitting strategies in a moment, but your lineup should still be stacked, top to bottom there. Starters can be brought in as relievers, so this is huge too. So if you want to get through the first inning with your premium reliever and then have the middle or last 2 innings, ideally, I almost said middle of the game, but it's the last 2 innings, the second and third with your Hal Newhouser type, you can bring him in behind the reliever, which is really cool. So again, everything is flipped on its head, and I'm really freaking excited about it. So my ideal setup for pitching is going to be 1 diamond, 1 gold, 4 silver, 5 bronze, and 1 common. That's what I'm looking to do. The diamond and the gold, it doesn't matter if it's reliever, it's what the draft gives me. And then same with the silvers and the bronzes. I'm going to kind of mix and match that depending on what I'm getting, what I'm putting together. What I'm really focusing on, of course, is handedness. I want to get that 3 and 3 of 6 guys that I really trust, or at least 4 and 2. I want to have at least 2 lefties that I can go to, especially because you can't mix and match lefties. You want to be smart about the lefties that you get too. You can see on your cards the batting averages against that you have for righties and lefties. Go look through some of your lefties. A lot of them probably have pretty big platoon splits, meaning they get crushed by righties and they dominate lefties. Well, you're going to have to be smart about that. You're going to want to find some of your sneak tip lefties who can get righties out. For me, that's like a bronze Jake Diekman, although he had a tough night on stream last night, and Tony Sipp gold. Those are 2 that jump right off the top of my head that I get righties and lefties out regularly with. And so they'll be guys I'll be seeking out for my BR rotations immediately. I'm going to put a premium on stamina where I can. This doesn't mean that I'm just going to take somebody with markedly less per 9s because they have 10, 15, 20 points of stamina. I still want the good guys. There's going to be some relievers that have 22 stamina, but they're awesome. I'm still going to take them. I can get 3 batters out with them. Think about what we do now in the game. You can get 3, 4, 5, 6 batters out with them when you're really dominating. Keep in mind, though, they won't be able to get used the next game. That's really the trick, is understanding that if you do exhaust a guy like that, he's getting at least 1 game off. At least, especially one of those low stamina relievers. So guys like Raleigh Fingers are going to be very important, and some of those old time relievers. That Vita Blue that they showed, I believe he had a 41 stamina. I already loved him in general, but now that we have energy depletion and pitcher selection, I love him even more. I was going to make another point, and I'm completely blanking on it. What was I going to say? Don't remember. Doesn't matter. It did matter, but I don't remember it. So I'll just go into the next point here. I'm going to start doing some SP reviews with silvers and bronzes on this channel right after release date to start to find some potential BR studs. So I'll just play a game with them in seasons, against another opponent. Try to figure out who are some of the good ones that we can trust. Then we can find some of those hidden gems that we can rely on. I was going to say something about stamina, and I really don't remember. Oh, here's the point I was going to make. When you have a lead, and it's a trustworthy lead, which you have to decide what that is for you. You know your game better than I could or somebody else could. Take your good guy out. Take your stud out. Don't waste his stamina. Go to a lesser guy. Don't go to your common, but go to somebody that you think you can still get outs with, but save the gem as soon as you get, for me, it's going to be like a 3-run lead. And I'll lose some of those. Like, I'll blow some of the 3-run leads and be like, I should have kept Newhouser. And I keep referencing that card because that's one they showed us, and he has really high stamina, and I'm excited to use him because I'm a Tigers fan. But, yeah, don't forget to do that once you build a good lead. And if you build a massive lead, like 4 or 5 runs, then you really should start going to your worst bronze or even that common maybe and messing around a little bit if you're playing somebody who you clearly overmatch. So that's pitching. And that's really where everything changes. Hitting, it's not going to change too much. You should still be focused on a deep, powerful lineup. Nothing with these rule changes makes it so that, like, you know, speed and manufacturing runs is the new meta or anything like that. I mean, you can do that. However you develop your offense, however you can work with offense, that's fine for you. If you have done that in the Tony Gwynn's and the Kenny Loftons or how you've done it in BR, that's fine. But the best way to win is still power, because in a 3-inning game, a single home run can force a quit, for crying out loud, let alone it gets you that run very quickly. So you don't really want to be having to manufacture runs. So I don't think anything really changes there too much. In fact, the silver bronze studs that we've really come to love in 19, they may become even more valuable because in 20, we want to build deeper staffs. So I mentioned earlier that I'm going to go from 4 to 6 because in 19 and beyond, in previous, I should say, you could use those 4 guys every single game. There was no energy depletion. But now with 20, you need to manage the staff over the course of 9, 10, 12, however deep your run goes. So you need a deeper staff. And with the 6 studs that I'm hoping to get, I still want, 2, 3 other guys that I can at least rely on. If they're not premium studs, they need to be guys that I'm not terrified to put in there, because this energy thing is going to play a big role. So now, your live series Brad Miller, your live series Logan Morrison, a lot of those silver flashbacks that we've grown to love, a lot of those silver live series, Jock Peterson, etc. I'm naming a lot of lefties, but there's righties too. Brian Anderson, Garrett Cooper. They become more important because you can spend your diamond and gold assets on the staff and not feel like you're putting your hitting behind the 8 ball. Although I'm going to counter that a little bit by saying you also have to make sure that they can hit against these top guys too, against, elite starting pitchers. So there's going to have to be a balance there. You can't do like an all silver and bronze lineup. Although, we were hitting with the Logan Morrisons and the Petersons against diamond relievers. So maybe that's less of a point than I want to make. And I'll back off on that a little bit. Now, the real question here is, can we leverage the 3-batter rule with lineup construction? Can we do anything that puts that in our favor? And I've been thinking about it, and I don't really think there's an obvious way. Because if the pitcher finishes an inning, he can then be removed. So you can only really do so much. And I think if you tried to do it too much, you'd put yourself behind the 8 ball in negative situations with your platoon splits as the hitter. So I say, don't get too focused on it. Maybe at the top of the order, but even that would be mitigated by pitcher selection because you don't know what they're going to bring in. A lot of times we were putting these Jock Peterson, Pedro Alvarez, Logan Morrison at the top of the lineup because most of the starters that you were going to face were righties. But even if it was a lefty, it was going to be a common or a bronze, so you would still have a chance. Like those 3 guys could all hit lefty for a lot of us. So I think we might see more lefty starters / openers to curb those platoon studs, right? Maybe I come in with Kershaw off rip because I know I can get righties out. So even if you don't put a Peterson at the top of the lineup and it is 3 righties, I'm still not worried about it. But if you do happen to go with some of those lefties, I've now undercut you. So I really, as I think about it, I don't know that there's a way to really leverage that rule in our favor. Because will these guys even lead off anymore? Because that whole advantage there, I think Shar wants to be on the video. Because that whole advantage was because they would face a lesser pitcher. At least that first time. They couldn't be platooned if they started a righty. So I think that that's really important to think about too. And just stick to building your lineup the way that you think is best. And don't get so focused on what your opponent might do. I'm still going to go righty, lefty, or not necessarily a righty leading off, but I'm gonna try to go right, left. If it's a lefty at the top, then left, right. You know what I mean. And switch hitters are still going to have a little bit of a premium for me. But Shar, you done? You good? But my ideal build, I think, is 1 diamond, 2 gold, 5 silver, 4 bronze, and a common. Ideally, like a speedy bench guy there. And I'm not going to do too much with these new strategies with my hitting. I'm still just going to... What I really want to do is start to find guys that I can hit lefty-lefty with and hit righty-righty with. Just because I've always wanted to do that, though, because you never know what you're going to face. If you have the platoon advantage, then there's nothing to deal with. So the 3-batter rule is more likely to put you in a better platoon split as the hitter, so you don't have to change anything. So the bottom line, hitting pretty much stays the same. Pitching completely flipped on its head. You need a deeper, better staff. You can use starters. Don't be afraid of them. And you have to manage that energy, and you have to be really smart about it. So that's how I feel everything's going to go with the new Battle Royale. We're going to find out on Thursday night. I'm going to do a Battle Royale run Thursday night at 11 p.m. Central for me, depending on what time zone you're in. It comes out Friday midnight Eastern. That's 11 Central, 9 on the West Coast. So we're going to find out pretty quickly, see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you.